y'all know YouTube shut down on me again. Okay. YouTube is really getting on my nerves. YouTube, stop. Okay. But I'm gonna have to report it because they keep doing this. They keep messing up our channels. Like, I had a video I recorded for the Patreon and that video never processed. So it's like I'm scared to record. But anyways, we're gonna continue. So if you guys missed the first half of this, I'm gonna link it in the comment section, and we're just gonna continue, right? So it's like that feminine just made you feel a lack of self-worth, and they were manipulative. So it was bringing out your shadow and heightening your ego. And this is what the fog was, is that your ego was in the way because this person was bringing that out of you. They weren't bringing out the king in you, the emperor in you. They weren't, you get me? They were draining you. They were making you less of yourself rather than encouraging you to be more of yourself. So I feel like we got that energy out the way now. You guys are clearing this energy because we do have it sideways, but you guys aren't fully there yet. So what else do the DMs need to know on this journey and them clearing out this fog? Okay, so we have the King of Pentacles in sideways as well. Why is the King of Pentacles sideways? Okay, for some of you guys, you met the Divine Feminine, which is the Queen of Wands. She's an Empress. But you was kind of giving to the Divine Feminine because you weren't done with the situation. Like, this person still had control over you, even if they weren't in your life, even if they weren't present, they still had an effect on what you had to offer. So I feel like when you come across, because some of you guys haven't experienced this yet, I read past, present, future, but it's the same cycle, right? You're working through it. When you come across the Divine Feminine, it kind of intimidates you because you've never met an Empress before. Someone who is self-assured, someone who knows who they are, someone who has boundaries. And I think that it could have confused you because you hadn't healed from this twin flame. And if this twin flame came back in the picture, then it definitely confused you. But I do feel like you're learning. You're learning how to love. This is something that you are healing, right? And you're also learning how to trust yourself, your intuition. Because when this feminine comes in for you, you will know it intuitively. But I feel like some of you guys that have already experienced it, you didn't trust your intuition. Those of you guys who haven't met this feminine yet, you can change that because you're getting a heads up, right? But I do feel like for most of you, however the situation plays out, it's still going to lead to separation. It's going to lead to heartbreak because the lesson hadn't been completely learned yet. So now let's read from the perspective of the people who have already gone through this and discovered this about themselves. Or you're discovering this about yourself, but you're not necessarily dealing with the twin flame. But you are dealing with the emotional state of it, right? Like you're healing how you felt about that connection in yourself. Now, those that already met the divine feminine, and future for those of you guys that are going to meet, you didn't feel like you had enough to offer this divine feminine, but it's because of how this Queen of Swords made you feel. So this is what played a part in this connection falling apart, was because of the lack and not trusting yourself, not trusting your intuition. So it led to disappointment. So now that we have clarity on this part, this is the part where your perspective is needing to change. Even though things didn't turn out the way that you had hoped, or it fell apart, I feel like you're still being urged to take a risk. Like, there was no clarity within the situation. Like, the universe is pushing you to take a leap of faith. Look at things differently. But it's more so of look at the other person's perspective, right? So let's see how the divine feminines feel about it. And I didn't really want to do a love reading for you guys, but it's not necessarily focused on the love aspect. I feel like it's still focusing on what you're working through, because I feel like this is what you're working through, is about how you feel about yourself, and it has to do with how you feel about being good enough for the divine feminine. So Spirit is saying you need to let go. You need to let go of the past. The twin flame, what happened in that dynamic. Don't look at yourself through that lens anymore. Let that go. That's not who you are. And then also look at things from the divine feminine's perspective of why they walked away, or why things were not successful in this connection. Because I feel like it could have made you still feel like, damn, I'm really fucked up. I'm not good enough. But I think it's the overspill, right? Like, I don't even know if that's the word. I be just saying stuff, but it's like the spill from the twin flame into the new connection, because the twin flame wasn't really released and the thought process and the healing wasn't done. It traveled into the new connection. So the actions that were taken affected the connection, because this Queen of Wands had boundaries, and this Queen of Wands is an empress. They know their worth. So if they were choosing you, Spirit is saying look at it from this perspective. If they were choosing you, they saw the Emperor in you. They saw those qualities that, then this might not be your readings, SB, because this is the divine masculine. Twin flames have to become divine masculines, and they're not in that divine energy when they're in karmic cycles. But because this reading isn't about somebody who is a criminal, I don't do those type of readings. But yeah, it's like this. When it came to you meeting the divine feminine, it's like you didn't know. It intimidated you because you didn't deal with this connection. So that thought process about yourself was still there. Oh, the twin flame was the karmic from the past. Okay, I get you. The twin flame, like the perspective you had about yourself and how they affected you, was still there. So Spirit is like, you have to just let go. Let go of how they made you feel about yourself, and look at things from a different perspective. Because it's like each connection is different. So what someone didn't like, you know when they say one man's trash is another man's treasure, that's literally true. Because what someone didn't like about you or value, somebody else will. So it's like, oh, what I was saying was, if this feminine saw something in, this feminine was giving you a chance is because they saw the value in you, right? And if you saw this person as somebody who had a lot of value as well, then it should have made you feel good instead of less than, right? So let's look at how the Divine Feminine feels, because this is, you guys are having to understand their perspective. How did the Divine Feminine feel about the situation? What happened between them? Ooh, we have the Emperor in the reverse. We have the Chariot. She feels like her assessment was wrong. She feels like you guys weren't an emperor, right? And she felt like she was disappointed. She was sad. She could have even cried over it, but she felt like she had to move forward. And with the Chariot is you have to use willpower to do that. And she felt like she had to move forward because this connection was holding back from her. This is what the real betrayal was the masculine holding back, not really communicating. Even if he was trying to look at things from a logical perspective, a logical lens, he was not connecting to the Divine Feminine. So it felt like a betrayal. It was hurting her. It was draining her, exhausting her. She felt like this was a Two of Cups relationship, and she feels like there was a third party in the way. Like I said, if you guys don't resonate with this part because you guys didn't go through this, then this is future stuff. But it doesn't have to be your future because you guys have control, right? But for the masculine who have experienced this, this is what happened, because they hadn't let go of the twin flame when they met the counterpart. They were still dealing with it. They were still in the middle of it. And the Empress, the counterpart, picked up on it. And she feels like, or found out that you guys were still dealing with the twin flame, the third party. She thought you were going to be her King of Wands, her match. But she walked away. And I feel like she became the King of Wands. So she tapped into her own masculine energy. So she could have also seemed like she changed. Because she came out as a Queen of Wands. You guys came out as a King of Swords, and you guys were dealing with a Queen of Swords in the reverse because she's your twin flame. So she was a match, but she was toxic. The Divine Feminine is a Queen of Wands. So she's different than the Queen of Swords. She had more boundaries. She had more self-respect. She had more self-worth. And you guys weren't a King of Wands. You guys were a King of Swords. So you thought more logically about your approaches. And both of you guys were different in your approach to love. She had certain expectations that could have seemed like her standards are very high. And because of what you went through with that Queen of Swords, it could have made you feel like you weren't good enough for her. Like, her standards are too high. So I feel like you had to make a choice in, am I going to become this King of Wands? But you felt like something about you felt small. You hid your feelings. You did have feelings. You did care, but you was afraid of being hurt. Okay, so that fear seeped into the connection. So instead of allowing the connection to to flow, you put up a blockage. And remember, she has boundaries. So let me see, what was this Queen of Wands expectations with this masculine? What else? Okay, so her expectations was for you guys to connect. She wanted you to open up, right? So, hold on, you guys. I'm going to cut the chat because it's getting very distracting. And I don't want to keep clarifying stuff. So, those that get it, you guys know how these readings go. Y'all know. take the advice, take the energy as it resonates. But she expected them to take action towards her, plan something, plan a date, and to commit to the plans that they would make. And I feel like she was giving them time to work on it. So their behavior wasn't reflecting that that's what they were going to do. They weren't showing up confidently as a King of Wands. Then we have the Lovers in the reverse, and we have the World. So from her perspective, because that was the whole point, but I kept getting distracted, so it kept getting real slow. Her perspective was, well, they're not offering me anything. They're not asking me out. They're not trying to connect. They're just in and out. They kind of seem to be impulsive with me as well. Sometimes I think that they're working on the connection, but then I don't see them making any real changes and moving towards me. She just kept feeling like something is holding this masculine back, which it was, dealing with that twin flame. And it was starting to put her in a state of doubt, even making her feel like something's wrong with her because she liked them. So this is why she put this connection to an end, because conflict was being created rather than them making choices to deal with her. And she just was thinking like, well, maybe he's a player. Maybe he has a lot of options and he's not that into me. She didn't want to, she wasn't trying to force anybody to connect. She wasn't trying to make anyone choose her. She cares about her peace. So this is why she blocked you guys in the this is why she blocked you guys in the past, right? For those that it resonate with. So some of you guys, you've been doing that work where you have been trying to reflect. It has been pushing you to grow and change. But I don't think that you fully had understood why she made those actions, made those choices. It was hard for you to understand because at the same time, you're awakening to your own self. Like, I feel like you didn't have full clarity on what you truly really wanted. You knew you wanted family. That was a goal. Someone to build a legacy with. Someone that made you happy. But I feel like that's all you knew you wanted. You didn't have the details of what type of feminine is going to rule next to me. If you had those details when you met the Queen of Swords in the reverse, she wouldn't have been a chapter in your book. But she once made you happy, so you could have maybe thought your life was going to go in that direction with her. You get what I'm saying? But it was like, but it's not working out. We keep fighting. And then when meeting the divine feminine, it's like you still didn't fully know what you wanted because you really needed to heal and let go of that connection and figure out what was really truly missing. Because just because someone makes you happy for a moment doesn't make a good partner. They also need to stand by you, work with you, treat you with respect. You get me? Things like that. So I feel like those things is what you was beginning to figure out. So it was because you hadn't figured it out, it was being projected onto the new relationship. But for this feminine, she felt like you were being karmic. So to her, in her eyes, it was like he's probably karmic. I don't feel like he's karmic, but his behavior, he won't open up. It doesn't seem like he wants to connect. He seems to be occupied elsewhere. He got other options. He's not choosing this connection. She was coming from a more mature place, in a confident place. Her thought process was, if I give you my energy, I'm allowing you to be in my world, in my space. I have boundaries, so I don't open up to everyone. But if I'm giving you that opportunity, I'm opening up to you. So I expect you to open up to me. That's how a partnership works. Because she had already done that healing of knowing what it is that she wants. So because you didn't know what you really truly wanted, that's where the confusion happened. So you had to figure out, why did this feminine respond the way she did to you? But it was because you had to see it through her lens, that you weren't showing up for her. You weren't showing up for the relationship. Even if in your heart you had chosen her and said, in the future I'm going to go down this path, you still never talked to her, told her what you were dealing with, what you were feeling. I do feel for most of you guys are trying to figure out that twin flame. You guys were juggling because you were trying to figure out what relationship you want, right? But it wasn't because you were trying to play games. It was just, you was just genuinely confused. So I think now you have more clarity, or you're gaining more clarity, because that fog is clearing up. Thinking from things from the other feminine's perspective, the Empress perspective, that this is why she walked away. So the reason why that was important to come to light in conclusion, because that clears down the path, right? So whether you guys have not met this feminine yet, and you guys are still in this cycle where you're trying to figure out yourself, that's what's happening right now either way. You got the insight about the twin flame. Now going into meeting this counterpart, before you meet them, recognize within yourself not to, like, where you are, and be open. Don't hide yourself from a connection that you want to, that you see yourself in, because that's what's going to create confusion. Right? So it's like, you guys can do things differently when that timeline comes up for you. If that timeline hasn't happened yet, then don't worry about it. But now you know what the issue is. It's like you need to sit and get clear on the type of feminine that you want. Not just because they make you happy and you want a family, but like, what does that feminine has to offer you? Because you also have self-worth. So it's like, do you want someone to talk to you with kindness? Do you want someone who also like works or is independent? What do you care about? You get me? I can't speak from the masculine's place, because it's like, as a feminine, I know what I want in a masculine, right? Like the type of love I want to have and what I bring to the table. Typically, we want to be loved the way we love. You get me? So it's like, maybe that needs to be your guideline on the type of feminine you choose. So when you find that in that feminine, you're looking for the qualities you like about that person. So then you'll know, this is my person, this is my manifestation. So if you meet that person, open up to them rather than block them. Regardless of what it is, just be honest. It'll lessen confusion in the connection. And if that person hurts you because of you being honest, then that was not your person. You get me? So for those who already went through this part of your journey, now what Spirit is telling you, this is what has been the fog, is like not seeing it from this feminine perspective and not having yourself figured out. But even though there's been an ending, right? Because there has been an ending, now that you see it from a different perspective, which is, okay, she walked away because I wasn't showing up. Not because she didn't want me, not because she didn't think I was good enough for her, but because I wasn't giving anything to her, or I wasn't giving her my full self. Maybe this ending can be saved. It can be fixed if I take a leap of faith and I come back in different. I come back in as that King of Wands. I come back in more confident with something to offer. So you have to sit and think what you would offer the feminine, because you're looking for stability. You're looking for someone to build with. So you don't have time to waste. You get me? So then it's like, and then let me show up. Let me give more of myself to her. Commit to doing that. Even if I've had these fears, even if I've been afraid. But before doing that, let me make sure that I've made this choice to leave this karmic connection behind, and the attachment to it, and the way that it made me look at myself, because I can't bring that energy into a new connection and look at myself that way when I'm dealing with someone who don't even look at me that way. I have to see myself differently. I have to work on my self-confidence. So that's where the fog is going to clear, because you'll see that the path is still there. It's not really a blockage. That blockage can be removed. Of course, it's up to the feminine, but it's a possibility that it can be fixed, a high possibility, if open communication, truth and honesty takes place, and the choice is made that I'm done serving this mindset about myself and picking this misery, this path, and fully releasing this karmic attachment, right? However you need to do that, so you can pursue what you actually really want and care about. So that's what I have for you guys, Divine Masculines. Hopefully that was helpful. Y'all got 2 readings because of what YouTube did. I'm sorry I had to cut the chat, but people was just getting distracting, and they were putting that energy that, I don't know why people don't listen to the storylines and take it as it resonates. Like, y'all putting negative energy on something that's positive. So it's hard when you're trying to read and then people are projecting that negativity, because it's like, look, if you're not in the cycle, this is talking about someone who's changing, who's healing. What y'all not listening to? We're not talking about somebody who is being narcissistic and is not growing, and they're over here hurting you. It's not that energy. So be gone. Be gone. That's why I cut the chat. But I do love when you guys are involved and you guys are, you know, talking and connecting. It helps me connect to your energy more too in the reading. So hopefully it resonated and it was helpful, and it gave you more insight into yourself and the fact that you just need to shift your perspective. So giving a rundown before we end it, you guys had this fog, right? Feeling like the path you wanted to go down is over. And even if it is over, it doesn't mean that it's really truly done. It's like you have to go figure it out. Before saying this is done, I give up on this, it's like you need to at least try. That's what that leap of faith is. But first, before trying, you have to figure out what you truly want. What is your goal? And then what you look at yourself differently, that you do have something to offer. You are in a connection that didn't appreciate what you had to offer, but you met someone who wanted what you were, but you didn't see yourself in that way. So it messed up the connection, and there's a possibility the connection can change if you look at yourself differently and you come in and you give to the connection rather than hold back. But that's that leap of faith you have to take to find out, rather than just give up and say, oh, I'm a failure, I messed up, she hates me, right? So yes, this is what you have to balance out. It is going to take a lot of strength for you to do it. So that is what I have for you guys, Divine Masculines. Hopefully it resonated. If it did, give me a big fat thumbs up, and I will see you guys tomorrow.